Good afternoon, everyone. We are on number 3 of our Healthy Eat Smarter Winter Series, and today's topic is going to be hot vegetables. It is just now 12 o'clock, so I'm going to give us a couple moments for other people to get on the line. So just hold right on, and I'll be right back. Okay, well, I do think that we will get started. We want to make sure that we get you out of here on time as well. So our time together is until about 12:30 today. I would like to complete the, quote, lecture part of this by 12:25, 12:20 even maybe, to be able to answer any of your questions. If you have questions as we go along, you are muted, but you can type in any question that you'll have, and then I will answer them at the end. Also, to let you know, I will be emailing all participants a copy of today's presentation. So as we're going through it and you're wondering, oh my gosh, I didn't catch that, it will be sent to you. We'll also be sending you an evaluation because we're also looking for a lot of feedback on how we're doing and what we can do to improve our services. So, time to get started. All right, so vegetables. Everybody knows we should have our vegetables, but we don't always do it. Why? You know, it's kind of one of those odd questions. You ask people, they're like, well, I really don't know why. Maybe it's because they go bad quickly. Maybe it's because they seem more expensive than other foods at the store. Maybe it's because I really don't know how to cook the vegetables, or I really don't like raw vegetables. You know, there are a lot of different reasons that most of the time people cannot pin their reason on one particular thing. Today we're going to talk about some of the vegetables that are hot right now, meaning they're most popular, but also other vegetables that are out there and different ways to get them, frozen, fresh, canned, and as well as how many vegetables you should get per day. So as you can see here, it says your plate and my plate. So we're looking at the difference between what people usually get and what the recommended amount is. And I'm also going to lead you towards some of the local produce that you can even get in the winter and how you can go about finding those places to get those. All right, so on to the next slide. I think I mentioned this the other day. The cauliflower is the new kale. Kale was last season's the most popular produce, if you want to say, and this year it's the cauliflower. And it's coming in lots of different colors, which are naturally occurring colors. We did have that question arise last time we talked about it. And how do you make some of these really interesting cauliflower dishes? Things like cauliflower steaks, kind of odd. But what you do is you actually cut it the steps way. Let me show you with my little highlighter here. So if you cut it in this direction, like down the center, and then into big pieces, you can then kind of saute it up, and it's kind of like what they would consider a cauliflower steak, and roast it. Well, you like to saute, but you can also roast the cauliflower like that. Creates a different flavor, a different texture. If you're trying to do some meatless days, if you are a vegetarian, it's just a different way of creating same old cauliflower. Curry cauliflower, mashed cauliflower. When you get your presentation, you'll have some of these recipes attached, or at least where to find them on the web. So some people are thinking about the gluten-free diet, and we'll be talking about that next week. But also you can use cauliflower to make a gluten-free pizza crust. Kind of strange. There are lots of things out there that you may not have thought of before, and just taking a jump and trying new things. Cooking something, maybe it's cauliflower, maybe it's beets, maybe it's turnips. Maybe you haven't liked any of those vegetables your entire life, and you say, oh my gosh, I'm never going to try them again. And then you try and do a recipe. Just try one new recipe a week or every 2 weeks. Your taste buds change as you age, but they get better or worse. It depends on the food. But your taste buds change, so you taste things differently, as well as you may never have tried cauliflower roasted before. I know cauliflower is one of those things that I really have never liked in my entire life. But it's always because I had it raw. And a few weeks ago, I roasted it and put some herbs on there, and I really enjoyed it, and so did other people in my family. So just trying new things can really open the doors for you. But it's white. How many vitamins can it really have? I've heard that from people before, because we always say eat a rainbow, right? And when you eat a rainbow of vegetables, you get lots of different vitamins and different phytonutrients that come from the different colors. But white is also a color. It has many antioxidants in it. It has a disease-fighting phytochemical called sulforaphane. So there are many good things in here, also along with vitamin C, fiber, folate. So just because it's white doesn't mean that it doesn't have something of benefit to you. What other things are cruciferous, like cauliflower? How about broccoli? Okay, yep, that makes sense. It looks like it. Broccoli rabe, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, same family, right? And bok choy. That's another thing that I've made of late, like in a stir fry, just lightly sauteed, and it really has a great flavor. Just a little bit. You can buy just like a handful of something and try it. So how much is enough? Oh, I need to change my little tool there, sorry. How much is enough vegetables? Enough really is about or a little more than a quarter of your plate. This is from the choosemyplate.gov website, which you can go there and you can put in your height, your weight, your gender, your age, your activity level, and you can come up with what the recommended amount of calories are for yourself, as well as the recommended amounts of each food group for yourself and your body. They also have this great tool that you can go into called a super tracker that you can track what you've been eating, and it will then tell you how that compares to the amount of calories that are recommended and the amount of each food group that's recommended. So is it really difficult to get this many vegetables? Yeah, it can be, but we're going to talk to you about some ways that you can look to get it in. Have you had frozen vegetables? It's another option. We've been talking about fresh as we've been talking today, and fresh is obviously one of the best ways to get it in because it has the most, you know where it's come from. It's only traveled locally, and a lot of people are interested in the environment and the impact of the environment. So, just a moment. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. So the other option is frozen, though. Frozen vegetables are usually less expensive. You can buy them on sale in your grocery stores and stock up on them, so you always have them and they're ready to go. You can add lots of herbs and spices to them to make them tastier for your liking. But another way is canned. Canned would be my third bet for you because you're going to get more sodium in that. So it's not the best way to go, but it is an option. If you are someone who is purchasing canned vegetables, you may want to rinse them off before you actually consume them, you'll reduce the amount of sodium in your end product. So one of the other things here, become a flexitarian. What the heck is a flexitarian? Well, it's someone who embraces the wonderful tastes, textures, and colors of veggies right in the center of their plate. Really, that would be good for all of us to actually think about all of our food in that way, that we embrace the taste, the texture, the color, we sit, we enjoy our foods, we experiment with our foods, right? But flexitarian is also a combination of flexible and vegetarian. So these are people who may focus on eating more plant-based meals and less meat meals, which is, it's a very helpful way to go. The amount of protein that we have recommended for our diets is lower than the amount of vegetables that are recommended in our diets. So if you try to focus on your vegetable and have some protein on the side instead of focusing on the protein and having the vegetable on the side. Focus on fresh and local. So I think that here we have some more information on what fresh and local is coming up, and we'll have some resources for you to find them. Now, we said a few minutes ago, how do we get more in? How do we squeeze these vegetables in so that it's not a mission impossible? How about with desserts with veggies? I have not tried this. There are many people I know that have. So I know that it can be done. Actually, I shouldn't say I haven't tried this. I've had brownies with a puree in them, either a sweet potato puree or actually a spinach puree. And a lot of times you don't even know that those veggies are in there. So that's why I kind of forgot as I was telling you. I was like, I've never had it before. But thinking back and really knowing what's in the recipe, that's how I know. But if I didn't know it was there, I never would have. There are turnips, beets, cabbage, and zucchini or other items that are added to desserts to bump up the nutrient factor of the brownie, if you want to say, or the cake, or the, how about this one? The muffins here. Zucchini, a lot of people have zucchini bread or zucchini made muffins. Squash, sweet potatoes. How about pumpkin? I love pumpkin muffins. Pumpkin muffins are fantastic. And here's also where you can put in some apple pieces too, right? So not only are you getting that kind of mellowness of a vegetable, you might be getting something sweet like an apple or an apple sauce that creates the moisture in those muffins too. You can sneak in lots of things into lasagna, right? Puree up stuff. If your kids say, I don't want peas in my lasagna, or I don't want green beans in my lasagna, stick them in a blender of sorts and mush them up. It's just going to add some moisture to the dish. It's not really going to give them a lot of the flavor because the tomato sauce and cheeses and things like that are more overpowering in that dish. Another one that someone on our staff was telling me about was creamy cauliflower mac, right? So the sauce, and you'll have your cauliflower as your base instead of the pasta, all right? And then also maybe going with a lower fat, creamy sauce for your cauliflower mac. Let's see what's going on next. So what are some flexitarian type foods? Let me see here. I just want to, I'm getting a little note here that I just want to check out. Okay. Sorry about that. Just checking that out there. All right, flexitarian foods. Brussels sprouts with walnuts and cauliflower. Wow, doesn't it look great? I think this dish looks absolutely fantastic. We also have black bean pizza on our website. We have many, many different recipes, and we have recipes for vegetable combined dishes as well as completely vegetarian dishes. The black bean pizza we've had at different events around I'm Healthy before, and many people really like this. I know it sounds really odd, black bean pizza, but it is really nice. It's kind of like a black bean salsa on a thin pizza crust. You should try it. So what you'll be getting when I send you the PowerPoint is a link to these recipes as well. Have you ever tried things like edamame? Edamame is a soybean, and you can eat it raw. You can just steam it up. You can take the little beans out of the pods and you can roast them. You can put them in salads. You can eat them as appetizers. Lots of good ideas there. How about things like garbanzo beans or chickpeas or garbanzo beans? Kidney beans, northern beans. Beans pack a protein punch. There is also quite a bit of fiber in there. And really, we've talked about before of last week, if you were here, we talked about snacks that hold longer. They have things like protein in them and fiber in them because of their longer digestive process. So having things like beans can be helpful at your snacks. So even having like a little baggie of, sounds kind of interesting, but have the soybeans popped out of the pods and put some herbs, spices on there, put them in a little baggie, and that's even something you carry around with you throughout the day. So I told you we would get to some items about fresh and local, because we don't always think about local produce at this time of year here in Michigan, but there are some places to get that. And I put some information right down here at the bottom. Project Fresh will give you a list of what produce is in season when, okay? And then this Michigan.org will tell you when farm markets are open near you. Also at Metro Parents, you can find that as well. I know it says May 2010, so there may be an updated guide since then, or you may want to call to verify those markets are still occurring at the same time. And there's also CSAs. For those of you who don't know too much about a CSA, it is a community-supported agriculture that links the source of food to the destination of the food, okay, so the farmer to the consumer. A CSA farm produces vegetables usually for a group of farm members or subscribers who pay in advance for their share of the harvest. So you kind of buy into a group of people that buy from a group of farmers, and you split the foods. So the farmer might be producing honey and eggs and bread on one certain week, and that's what you will be getting as part of your share for the week. And the next week might be completely different. But it is a really great way to connect with the farmers around you. Another thing is Pure Michigan. Pure Michigan, there is a website and there is a cookbook of different recipes using Michigan products. And you get those favorites there. There are things like using cherries and blueberries and some of our regional fishes. So you can go to that website, Pure Michigan, and see what else you can find that might tempt your taste buds. So the challenge of the week is try a cauliflower steak. I know. And whether you have it as a steak or if you have it as your vegetable, all right? So if you're replacing your regular steak with the cauliflower steak, or if you are having meat plus the veggie, just try it. It doesn't hurt anything to try it. Have your vegetables take the center of the stage. Have your vegetables be the main part. If you eat your vegetables first, you fill up on the vegetables instead of getting done with everything else and think, oh man, I'm so full, what about those veggies? I left them out again. When you're meal planning, because we've talked about planning in the past, when you're meal planning, plan around the vegetable, or at least plan a vegetable into every meal. If you don't, you forget. If you don't, you won't buy it. So you'll be stuck going home on Thursday evening and saying, oh my gosh, I have no vegetables left. What are we going to have for a vegetable? And then you just don't. And that's another place where those frozen vegetables come in hand. For those nights, days when you just forgot or you ran out. You know, we buy vegetables or produce on the weekends, and you get to near the end of the week again, and you've run out. And that's a good thing. That means you're using your vegetables. But having the frozen there as a backup is a nice way of ensuring that you get them in. Be creative. Look for some new recipes. Like I said, our website, I'm Healthy, and then going through nutrition into recipes, there are a lot of vegetable recipes there, recipes using vegetables. Also, when you get your presentation, you have lots of links to cookbooks, recipes, and markets. So look for them. See what new thing you can make this week. Okay, so we only have one more class in this 4-part series, and we'll be talking about the different grains and their gluten contents and the hot topic of people of going gluten-free, because we've gotten a lot of questions about that as of late, and we do want to address it. And I do have lots of questions here, so I'm going to go ahead and open my question window. So I hope that you stick around while I answer these questions. All right. Actually, I have a really good question here about organic vegetables. Organic vegetables are not usually more nutritious than regular vegetables. Yes, there are many different opinions on this because there are lots of different little studies out there. There are lots of different varieties out there, so it's really hard to tell for sure. But in general, all vegetables are nutritious. They have the same nutrients, whether they're organic or not. It is what is the soil that they're grown in, maybe the fertilizers that are used on them, and there are clean vegetables, ones that are, banana, when you open it up, is clean. You're not eating the peel. But a strawberry has the seeds on it, and you may not wash it quite as well, and it's not quite as, quote, clean. So there are some guidelines if you're trying to really watch any chemical exposure that you might have. Thank you for that question. I have a question here of where do potatoes fall on the plate slide? Actually, a potato, along with things like corn and peas, are a starchy vegetable. So they kind of hit both. They hit that vegetable section and they hit the grains section because the grains are high in starch. So as long as, let's say, you're going to have potatoes, as long as you also had some non-starchy vegetable on that plate, I think they're creating a good balance. Potatoes still have a lot of great nutrients as well as fiber, so we don't want to count them out altogether, but you don't want to be having them in a large quantity every day. Let's see if I can find another question here. There's one about canned and frozen vegetables, and I did mention this earlier, that frozen vegetables do have about the same nutritional content as fresh, especially if it's fresh local, because they are frozen as soon as they're picked. So just like getting your local farmer coming to the corner and you buy it from them, it is about the same quality, nutritional quality, as that fresh and frozen. Can sometimes have a little less nutritional content. It depends on the vegetable. Like I said, that's my third choice in the fresh, frozen, or canned question. Oh yeah, this is definitely true, and I think I mentioned this as one, thank you for the comment, of one yummy one I found was roasting garbanzo beans, delicious for a snack. And I mentioned the edamame or the soybeans, and you could have those roasted and or raw, and you can put spices on them, and that is a really great one. Thank you for the suggestion. Let's see. What are your thoughts about roasting vegetables with olive oil? I hear different things. I don't want to add a lot of calories, but I've heard it makes them so much better. Well, you know, I think that that is a palate question. Some people like a little bit of olive oil on there. Some people, it doesn't really matter for them. Olive oil or any oil can help in the browning process when you're cooking your vegetables. So you just do want to watch how much you're putting on there. You may, instead of just kind of pouring your olive oil on and tossing them, tossing your vegetables in it, what you could do is put your olive oil in one of those spritzers or buy one of the spray oils, because then you're putting a lighter coating on them. That way they also don't stick to the pan. Okay, so I'm just checking out the time here, make sure that we have time. We have about 3 more minutes. Are apples supposed to be shiny? Well, give me just a moment. I'm thinking on your question before I answer it. I want to answer it in the best way possible. Most of the time, there are some coatings or some wax or something along that line. I don't know of all the products that they might use that would put on the outside of apples or other products, because it is out there in other products as well, to make the food look more inviting. Okay, so they do this in restaurants too. One example would be something like fajitas. You think that they're super healthy and super low fat, and a lot of times they'll put a spray of oil on the food before they bring it out. Same thing with some of the vegetables that you get served at restaurants. They'll put this like coating on top of them to make the food look even more exciting to you. So what you can do is you can wash your fruits and vegetables. I would say do not use soap. You just need to have water and a little bit of a light pressure to take off chemicals. I have a question here about what about coconut oil versus olive oil? This one goes back and forth and back and forth, and there's research on both sides of the coin. I actually just talked about this yesterday with some of my colleagues. Coconut oil is still not being accepted by the American Heart Association as a alternative, as a healthy alternative to olive oil. There is some, like I said, controversy about the type of fat that is in the coconut oil. It is a saturated fat, but it's not exactly the same type of saturated fat like that's in butter, whereas olive oil is completely unsaturated fat. So I would say for the time being, your safest bet is to go with something like an olive oil or a canola oil that is mostly on the unsaturated side. Okay, I'm going to let you all go. It is 12:30. I hope that we, quote, see you back here next week for our discussion on different sorts of grains and alternative grains. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.